Welcome to my talk on the Foraminifera.eu collection. I am Michael Hesemann, an evocational scientist. In 2009, I founded and now run the Foraminifera.eu lab, which itself manages the physical and virtual collection. That's me in the field. As an evocational scientist, I am at Senckenberger Meer in Wilhelmshaven. I run a local group of microfossil hunters, the AG Micropaleontology. My publications you can check out at ResearchGate. Foraminifera, or forams in short, are single-celled organisms which live and lived in the oceans. After their death, they leave their shell, called test, behind. In freshwater, they live naked. Forams come in big numbers and varieties. In a spot, you find a specific assemblage of taxa adapted to the specific conditions. An example is this assemblage from the Weddell Sea. The specimens are mounted in a slide, where each field is a 1 cm quadrant. Actually, there are two assemblages. The small white forams in the lower left drift in the oceans and are planktonics, whereas in field 1 to 18 you see benthic forams which live on the seafloor. These tests reflect the conditions on the seafloor at 4,400 meter water depth and in the layers above at the specific time of sampling. You may imagine that forams are important proxies for climate and environmental conditions. The seafloor from near shore to great depths is widely covered with tests of forams and radiolarians. For studies of Earth history, forams are important index fossils, at least in the Cenozoic and Mesozoic. And not to forget, they are amazing collectibles because of their beautiful tests. So who is behind the Foraminifera.eu lab? In 2009, I met the microfossil hunters Dieter and Karl Otto. We viewed it as a great pity that no one could see our beautiful fossils with the naked eye. So we started to photograph them and I established the database. In the course of time we have established a team, as can be seen here. We got fantastic support by scientists contributing raw materials, specimens, images, and shared their expertise. For example, from Senckenberg at Sea and the German Center for Marine Biodiversity, we get recent material from cruises of research vessels. Regarding fossil material, professionals mainly contribute images and share their expertise. We also have to thank the many amateurs for their support of mainly raw material. In return, we picked and identified their forams. Our mission is to foster the interest in forams and to give free support and services such as photographing and identifying sent-in specimens. The outcome to date is a physical collection of more than 6,300 specimens, which are freely accessible within our online image database. It contains more than 23,000 entries and the physical collection is a part of it. Of course, the images of the physical specimen. We also serve as a point of contact for people interested in forams, and every week there are 2 or 3 emails asking questions. Our motivation is naturalist enthusiasm. We are non-profit and everyone covers own costs. We do not accept financial contributions, only samples, specimens, use of technical equipment, know-how and image rights. The purpose of the collection is housing foraminiferal assemblages, not type specimens. We think we fill a gap in a world in which diversity loss is the great challenge for survival. The loss is reflected in changes of assemblages. We want to make this collection to be virtually accessible at no cost worldwide. The only thing you need is internet access. Let me give you an example. If you choose in our database query Foraminifera collection, and then let's say Chattian, a stage in the Oligocene, then you get hundreds of thumbnails, altogether 612. You may narrow that down by adding another criteria like test material agglutinated, and after a click you get a new list with the 62 agglutinates, all in the physical collection. We want to foster collecting and study of foraminiferal assemblages. House material dealt with in published papers, as for example my publication, those of collaborators, I think altogether 12 or 13. And we also want to house otherwise abandoned collections, as the one of Karl Otto Bock, who supposedly has about 100 of these plumber cell slides. And we want to share material containing well-documented assemblages with others for education and out of interest. The scope of the collection are dead assemblages with over 6,300 photographed and identified specimens, of which 3,256 are recent. I listed some larger sub-collections. Those in green are assemblages published or in preparation. You may access those through a map if you go to locality, and you can zoom in and move around. It's a Google map, and if we choose the Mauritanian slope and click, then we get to this sorted by morphology, and then we get to all the physical specimens from the Mauritanian slope. And if we click on the thumbnail, then we will be directed to the single specimens page. We have 3,045 fossil specimens from the Neogene, Paleogene, Cretaceous and Jurassic are the most. And the speciality are those from glacial erratics, because the whole northern Germany is covered with glacial erratics, and forams may be used to date these displaced rocks. For fossil foraminifera, you may use our clickable geological timescale. Let's choose, for example, Kimmeridgian, and you will be transferred to the according thumbnails. We choose collection and get to the physical Kimmeridgian foraminifera in our collection. Again, you can click on a thumbnail to get to the single specimens page. For example, here we have Epistomina muscensis. I will only give a brief overview of our methods. First step is the acquisition of adequate material. The specimens should have an exact documentation where they were found on the map and in the profile of an outcrop or core. We consider own fieldwork with the goal of a publication to be the best source. An example is our Kimmeridge Clay Formation fieldwork endorsed last year, together with Steve Edges, the renowned Palaeo and Mesosaur hunter. Another example is this Paleocene glacial erratic found on the Baltic coast on a winter day. Besides of own sampling, material from professionals are fine, such as from cruises or research vessels. We also take material from amateurs, following the goal to foster the interest in forums. We encourage proper documentation and may work on it only to a limited extent though. Optical photographing is done in our labs in the SEM imaging at Senckenberger Meer. We discuss identifications via Zoom after having photographed the taxa of an assemblage. Prior, we collect the relevant forum literature on the locality, formation and forum groups. To some extent, our identifications are checked by professionals, such as for recent planktonics by Michael Kuchera and for Ophidiums and Ammonias by Bruce Hayward. The identified specimens are then added to the database and made available online, and I only showed you that some of the specimens are mentioned in publications. For storage and documentation, we address over 30 data criteria to each specimen, such as its unique FOIN number. You will see it on the single specimens page to the right bottom where the red dot appears. And we also address the taxonomic data in the upper left, the geographical specifications, and the geological time as far as this can be addressed. And the single specimen will be stored in slides, T to the upper left, and these are then stored in cabinets. We think that our 2 cabinets of 0.4 cubic meters may store up to 200,000 specimens, so that should be enough. And by the way, they are easy to transport and keep all the specimens clean and safe. Please consider to collaborate and contribute. You will get a contributors page, which you may show to friends, family, and colleagues. You may also search your own collection or compare it with finds of others. Let me give you 3 examples. One of our first contributors was Rafa'a from Yemen, now a troubled country, as you may know, but his collection stays safe with us, at least till now. In last September, I visited the Norwegian Geological Survey in Trondheim, who gave us 90 samples from the Skagerrak and further north. Now they have their contributors page with 163 figured and identified specimens. In 2011, Jan still went to school when he sent his first samples. Now he has made his doctorate on mollusks. Thanks for watching. Please find our contact data, the webpage, email address, and you may follow us on social media. Thanks and bye.